and welcome to Film with Family. I'm Austin.
And I'm Zach.
That was a good Zach. And we are two cousins who like to talk about movies. And today, it's just me and Zach. We're going to be talking about Francis Ford Coppola's new movie, Megalopolis.
It's Mega-Month. Megalopo-Month.
Or Monthopolis.
We're talking Megalopolis all month long.
Well, we're talking about Rome at least.
Yeah, New Rome, Old Rome.
Answering the question, how much do we think about the Roman Empire? And it's going to be just 1 month. Remember that was like a whole meme?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand that really, but I guess some people think about it, including Francis Ford Coppola.
A lot. His son's name is Roman. Did you know that?
Yeah. I was looking into the whole Coppola family today.
Yeah. You know who is my favorite Coppola? Nicolas Cage.
Yes. Yeah, he changed his last name because he didn't want to be associated with the Coppola. He wanted to make it on his own, which is very cool of him.
He talks about Uncle Francis.
You know who my favorite Coppola is?
Sophia.
Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, wait. Yeah, he is a Coppola. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, him and Nicolas Cage are cousins, just like me and you.
Whoa.
So you're Cage, I'm Schwartzman.
Wow. Amazing. We have so much to get into. It's been a while, Zach. You know, you and I have been doing some big work with guests and stuff, but we haven't really talked, just you and me, since before the summer.
Since the mid-year check-in.
Yeah.
Since then we had our big Herod Blank interview, Burden of Dreams month, and then we had Lonesome Dove month.
Animal series. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun episodes.
A lot of fun episodes, but it's nice to be back, just you and me in the two-seat Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
Ferraris are Italian, right?
Yeah, Ferrari. Did you see Adam Driver in Ferrari last year?
I saw it this year. It was actually the first movie I saw in the theaters this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I did not like it.
Well, we're going to talk a lot of Adam Driver today. So there's a lot to get into, as you said, but we got an email that I think we should talk about.
Yes, we should. So not only is it Megalopo-Month, but it's October, folks. You almost did a spit take there.
Yeah, I don't know why you say Megalopo-Month caught me off guard.
It's also October. It's spooky season, folks.
Play the spooky Film with Family theme.
Film with family. So we can't kick off our first episode in October without talking about something a little spooky. And Jasmine, your sister,
yes,
provided us with a call-in about a kind of a spooky movie. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hi there, Film with Family. It's Jasmine here, telling you to crank your AC and maybe take off a layer, because I'm coming in with a hot take on Tim Burton's newest film, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. We saw it a few days ago, and my feeling seems to deviate a little bit from the general vibe that it's a middling to fun offering. I found this movie to be pretty devoid of any heart, any real laughs. Michael Keaton is a winning presence. He's awesome. He did great as far as I'm concerned. A couple other performances that were all right too, but in terms of the leads, you're getting no juice. I mean, Jenna Ortega and Winona Ryder, who are sort of the heart and soul, I guess, of this movie, who you're supposed to be feeling the most for, their characters are explicitly like emotionless or like sort of dark expressionless characters, which isn't really the easiest thing to build a movie around. I mean, in the original, you have the Maitlands who are so earthy, warm, fuzzy, and then you have the Dietz family who are sort of like cold and affected. And in this movie, you're not getting those contrasts, among a lot of other things. I don't really want this to go on for too long, except to say that the movie felt so slow, with emotional beats just rehashed so many times that weren't really that effective to begin with. Not enough fun. Yeah. Let's just watch the original again, guys.
Beetlejuice is the film.
Doesn't have the juice, says Jazz.
Jasmine gives it 2 thumbs down.
I gotta say, kind of agree with her.
You saw this movie.
I saw it twice, Zach. Within 48 hours, I saw it twice. I'll say when I first saw it, the first 30 minutes, I was in. I was like, I think it's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just got so chaotic and fit in all these weird storylines. And it was just a bunch of rehashed jokes. And it kind of was a steep decline around the second and definitely the third act.
So why do you see it twice?
Well, all my friends were going to see it again. And I was like, hey, I don't want to see the movie, but I'll meet up with you guys beforehand if you're getting a drink or whatever. And then met up with them. And they're like, come on, you gotta just come. Like, whatever, it'll be fun. There's all of us. And I was like, fine. So I just kind of went under duress. And man, it was hard to get through. But it's actually not the first time I've seen a movie twice this summer. I saw Furiosa twice. I saw Twisters twice. And I saw Beetlejuice twice. And the former two were fine on the second watch, but this second watch of Beetlejuice was rough, man.
Took a steep decline on that rewatch.
Oof, yeah. And the more I keep seeing this Beetlejuice merch every time I like walk into an AMC still, it just makes him look like the Ronald McDonald of fucking movie theaters right now. It's just like, hey folks, come check me out. It's just like so over advertised, and the way they use like the shrunken head people as like it's like in a CarMax commercial or something, and like they just look like minions now to me. Like, so yeah, that's kind of my hot take. What did you think about it, Zach?
Well, I was there when I saw it with Jasmine. The original plan was just me and her to watch it, but then it ended up turning to like a whole family affair with my mom and dad coming and Honore and AK coming too. So
nice.
So all of us went and saw Beetlejuice together because I guess Honore is a huge Beetlejuice fan, which is kind of funny because it's like kind of a movie about a lot of death and just like, I mean, it's like cartoonish kind of depictions of death, but I don't know, she's young, so it's kind of funny that she's like really into that vibe. But she definitely seemed bored by the movie, or she was a little bit restless in her seat. It didn't seem like she was vibing that much, and yeah, nobody seemed to be really enjoying it. Maybe I enjoyed it the most out of all of us, but I think a part of it was that I hadn't seen the original Beetlejuice in so long, and maybe it'd been like 10 years or something. So all of the stuff in it, I forgot a lot about Beetlejuice. So a lot of the visual ideas felt really fresh to me and like really exciting and fun. But then I rewatched Beetlejuice after seeing Beetlejuice. I'm like, wait, all this shit is in the original movie.
Yeah.
The sandworm, the shrunken head guy.
Yeah.
And just like a lot of and like the waiting room, like with all the dead bodies, like all the shit they did in the first movie and arguably better in the first movie. Yeah. And they just kind of just like, well, let's do that again. So that made me feel like, well, I probably would have disliked this movie more if I had remembered the original Beetlejuice more going into it. But I did like Willem Dafoe a lot in it. His character doesn't really have much to do, but he is funny and he does fit into the world. And I thought Michael Keaton was making me laugh. Anytime he was on screen, I was like, I'm having a good time. And anytime they're in the underworld area, I was like, this is fun. I
Yeah.
just wanted a better ratio of like there should have been more of that stuff and less of, just the regular world stuff, which wasn't that fun. But Justin Theroux was kind of good in it. Bellucci was kind of good. I don't know. I definitely don't hate this movie, but
Yeah.
I definitely can see the argument that people didn't like it.
Yeah. I had seen the original earlier this year in the theater, actually. I saw like a beautiful 35 millimeter print. I was like, damn, it's still a stone cold classic. Just firing on all cylinders. Music is incredible. Just
Hmm.
still just such like kind of a revelation of a film. Just doesn't look like anything.
And it's so simple too. Like a
Yeah,
very simple story, as opposed to Beetlejuice, which has like eight different storylines. Most of
I
them
know.
don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They're just dead ends. They're just kind of just there just to bog things up a bit.
You hit the nail on the head. The thing that was great about the original Beetlejuice is that it was super simple, and this one was not. So yeah, I did love Justin Theroux though. I did get a lot of laughs out of him, especially in that first act. I think that was what was really driving it for me. But once we kind of got into the treehouse with the
Ghost
kid,
Boy.
yeah, Ghost Boy, he's a ghost, spoiling it for
Yeah.
you, so you don't have to see it. Yeah, that was when everything kind of took a weird turn for me.
Yeah. I kind of like the Ghost Boy storyline. That was one of the storylines I felt like it felt like the most fleshed out. So that was like that one. It's like I thought it was had a little bit more juice than some of the other stuff. But yeah, my sister's right. The Jenny Ortega is kind of a bland screen presence.
Yeah,
And Winona Ryder feels lost a little bit
yeah,
in the movie. So it's no Beetlejuice. It's just Beetlejuice.
yeah. Another really scary movie that came out recently that I absolutely adored is The Substance.
I saw The Substance.
Yes, incredible. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this movie was everything I love about going to the movies. Got grossed out. It's kind of a thinker. It's fun. It's sexy.
Body horror.
Yeah, you're clearly taking from Lynch elements, from Cronenberg elements, but also had some like Joe Dante, Gremlins style rules thrown in there. I mean, it was just so much fun, so weird, so crazy, and I had just the absolute best time. Love it. I loved it so much. What did you think of Substance?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was just really shocked by the ending, which it's really hard to do anything shocking in horror movies anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like this movie actually does it and just keeps upping the ante and goes farther than you expect it would.
Yeah, I went in with the pretty high expectations because of what people were saying about it in terms of like it being a new body horror classic. So I saw it as soon as I could, and it delivered better than I could have ever imagined. It's just, she did the thing. She actually went for it in every possible way in terms of creating something that actually has a pretty decent message in terms of body standards and like beauty standards for women
Hmm.
and the male gaze. I think Dennis Quaid is incredible in it. um
Yeah.
just when we thought we lost him to the Reagan verse,
Yeah.
he comes screaming back with shrimp in his face.
Yeah, Quaid's great. Quaid and Quali, the new dynamic duo.
Quaid and quality is quality.
And of course, Demi Moore knocks it out of the park.
Triumphant return, we might say.
Yeah, where's she been? Who knows?
Just hanging out with her weird dog. Did you see her like pooch that she has? It's like a little,
It's like a chihuahua or something.
it's like a tiny little chihuahua with its tongue hanging out.
Nice.
She's been doing the rounds with her little pooch. It's fun.
Yeah, go see The Substance if you like the words body horror, it's a must see. If you don't like the sound of that, you might not have a good time with this movie. But
As gross as you can imagine, it's grosser than that.
Hmm.
And if you can't handle things like The Fly,
Yeah.
you probably will not have a good time with this.
Yeah, there was one scene that feels straight out of The Fly, a,
Hmm.
a, a loving homage. It definitely was great to see in the theaters.
If you want to see a scary movie in the theaters, I know Smile 2 is coming up and Terrifier 3, but I don't think you're going to do much better this year than The Substance. So check it out. It's a blast. So so there's a little Halloween taste. We didn't want to leave you in the spooky lurch.
Yeah.
We need to talk a little spookiness this October. But you know what? This year for Halloween, we're dressing up as Romans. We're putting on our toga and our gilded armor.
Yes, that's the plan.
We're doing Megalopolis, and then in 2 weeks we're doing Gladiator.
In preparation for Gladiator 2, which is going to come out later this year.
Yeah.
But before we get into the movie, I think we should talk a little bit about Francis Ford Coppola, the
Yes.
director of Megalopolis. I've been rewatching some of his movies in preparation for this movie, and I know you have too.
I sure have. Yeah.
Obviously, he directed The Godfather, which is a huge masterpiece of film, and he did Apocalypse Now,
Yeah.
and those are kind of his. I feel like those are his two biggest movies that people cite him with from the 70s. But he's made a ton of movies, a lot of which I have not seen. I did watch a couple that I hadn't seen ever before.
Yeah. Same. I definitely got a bit of an education
Hmm.
because I love The Godfather, Godfather Part 2. I'm okay with Godfather Part 3, and I think that it does fit into the whole story of Michael Corleone if you want to really go deep, even though he kind of made that movie under duress because he was out of money and Paramount's like, we need a hit. We need some money, Francis. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think I like all the Godfathers. I don't remember part three very much. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but
I mean, it's nowhere near as good as the first two parts, but I think it does have its place. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be.
yeah.
But for my money, my favorite Francis Ford Coppola movie is actually The Conversation.
Oh, I watched that for the first time last week.
It's great, isn't it?
I thought it was great. Gene Hackman is amazing in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a very unique movie about surveillance
And saxophones.
and saxophones jamming on the sax. Yeah, it's a very unique movie, and I was kind of surprised by the ending of it. It's got a really cool ending.
It's kind of a lesson in audio design, just the way that he so delicately creates the soundscapes that are literally going into Gene Hackman's ears as he's surveilling these people. And you just keep seeing these conversations over and
Hmm.
over and getting new and more details out of them and how they mess with the frequencies to like hear things in the background and stuff.
Yeah, it's like one of the big movies about audio. There's
Hmm.
not too many movies like that. I guess Sound of Metal is kind of like one of those, but
Mm,
this is one of the early
good
ones that
call.
it's like this is an audio based movie and it sounds great. And he made that movie right off. That's the movie he made directly after The Godfather, so he was just on a nice little streak there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I rewatched The Godfather 2 last week. Not
Oh,
Godfather Part 2, The Godfather Part 1.
as well.
And yeah, that movie still holds up great. It's just iconic from start to finish. So it's kind of impossible not to be like, this is a five-star masterpiece. It just is.
In college, I got the Godfather box set, DVD box set, with all three parts and a full bonus disc of features. And I
Ooh.
watched one of the documentaries, which is kind of a look back at the first two parts, and then also a sort of a more of a behind the scenes on the third part. And the documentary was produced by American Zoetrope and with Francis Ford Coppola. So he's really got his hands in this like little documentary about Godfather, and it's just great. There's all these scenes of him sitting at a dinner table with all of the like cast and crew, and it's just him at the head of the table with like wine and big Italian meal, just telling stories about how they got the horse head and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And It's fun. I've actually been watching a lot of behind the scenes Coppola stuff, and it's fun to watch him in action. And apparently, Megalopolis has a quote unquote mega doc coming.
Ooh,
So there's
I
gonna
want
be
to
a
watch
big,
that.
yeah, it's gonna be a big Megalopolis doc,
Nice.
Megadocalypse.
Megalopolis. What are some other movies that you watched in preparation for Megalopolis?
I watched Hearts of Darkness, which I think pairs amazingly well with Burden of Dreams.
Yeah, I was thinking about it when I was watching Burden of Dreams, but somehow it didn't come up when we were doing our episodes, but very similar vibe.
If you haven't seen it, it's the behind the scenes documentary, actually filmed by his wife, Eleanor. Megalopolis is dedicated to his wife, Eleanor, who just passed.
R.E.P.
But she recorded a lot of the documentary footage and all these like secret audio tapes.
The film Francis is making is a metaphor for a journey into self. He has made that journey and is still making it. It's scary to watch someone you love go into the center of himself and confront his fears. Fear of failure, fear of death, fear of going insane. You have to fail a little, die a little, go insane a little to come out the other side.
My greatest fear is to make a really shitty, embarrassing, pompous film on an important subject, and I am doing it. I confront it. I acknowledge, I will tell you right straight from the most sincere depths of my heart, the film will not be good.
It's like going to school. You finish your term paper, and maybe you get a B instead of an A+ that you wanted, so you get a B. And so
But I'm going to get an F.
Yeah, he's not as chill as Werner Herzog is in Burden of Dreams. He's off the rails.
They're both very raw portrayals of a director in an incredibly chaotic production.
In the jungle.
In the jungle. And yeah, the parallels are pretty astonishing. And I think my dad actually turned me on to it because he always loved the story that Frederick Forrest tells about the tiger.
That was really crazy, man. That time in the jungle with me and Marty and the tiger. Yeah, that was just insane. We had this guy there with the tiger, a couple, the trainers. And he had like a slight speech impediment. I mean, his scar tissue like all over his face. Where he'd been had to bounce with the tiger, Gamby. So the guy come around and say, Gamby's very hungry today, Martin. He's very hungry, Mr. Coppola. I'm sure he will do exactly what you want. We haven't fed him in a week. Oh, shit. We come out there, and Francis keeps saying, get closer, get closer. We're saying, you get closer, Francis, you get closer. Man, I've never been so frightened in my life because it was so fast, man. Guys were running everywhere, climbing trees.
I gotta remember, never get out of the boat. Never get out of the boat.
And to me, that was the essence of the whole film in Vietnam, was the look in that tiger's eyes, the madness. Like, it didn't matter what you wanted. There was no reality anymore. If that tiger wanted you, you were his.
So I watched that, and that's great. And I also watched The Outsiders, which I'd never seen.
Yeah, I think I watched The Outsiders back in middle school. For some reason, they showed us that in middle school. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since, but I remember thinking it was good back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually like a really touching movie. On the outside, it seems like almost got you again with another spit
Dolly
take.
spit take.
I just thought on the outside, it just seems like a movie about greasers and like street punks. But really, it's a very tender story about like the fragility of masculinity.
Mhm.
And I love you, man. Like, we'll do it. We'll do it for Johnny.
Yeah, I remember we read the book in middle school. That's why we saw the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember liking the book, liking the movie. Pony Boy.
Yeah. There's Pony Boy and then Soda Pop.
Yeah.
which they make sure to tell you that his legal name is Soda Pop. And that's played by Rob Lowe. Great cast.
Yeah.
A very young Tom Cruise,
Matt Dillon, right?
Patrick Swayze, Ralph Macchio, who
Yeah.
I think does the best. I think Johnny, the character of Johnny, is probably like the emotional center of the movie, and Ralph fucking crushes it. Also, Diane Lane is in it.
Hey, another Diane Land.
And a quick Tom Waits cameo.
Yeah, I guess he's collaborated with Tom Waits a few times.
Yes. So, especially in the movie right before he made The Outsiders, which is One from the Heart.
Never seen this one.
Yeah. I had heard about it. I think me and my dad actually watched there's a pretty decent documentary on YouTube about it that me and my dad, I don't know why we were talking about Coppola when I was hanging out with him last time in Hawaii, and we just ended up watching this random documentary about One from the Heart, which probably in his whole career parallels best with Megalopolis right now in terms of its ambition and its scope and its budget and its reception.
It's like passion project kind of vibe.
Yes, this was like one of his early Zoetrope films when he like acquired some old sound stages. So the whole film is filmed on soundstage. Actually, that's the last thing that pops up in the movie. It's like literally like a curtain closes and it's like this was all filmed on soundstage. I mean, it's a really cool movie. I would say its biggest weaknesses are in the script, and I don't really love Terry Garr or Frederick Forrest as the leads. I think they're kind of like weak leads. I kept thinking
Mhm.
how much better it would be if it was Nick Cage and Laura Dern.
And he wrote it, right?
Yeah, he wrote it and he collaborated with Tom Waits on the score. With score is fun, and then the sets are like kind of like this old Vegas look, and so these really elaborate facades with just incredible lights and neon and these big, kind of old school dance numbers. And I think that if you're interested in Francis Ford Coppola's career, it's a must see. Like, this is like one of his big passion projects. So if you want to kind of understand him, I think you got to see this movie.
Yeah. One movie that I saw in preparation for this Francis Ford movie that I had never seen before was called Twixt, which is from 2011. So this was
Hmm.
his most recent film since Megalopolis. And
Hmm.
so I wanted to see this because I had never seen any of his more recent films. Like the most recent film at that point I'd seen he made was Bram Stoker's Dracula, which came out in
Hmm.
1992. So I
Hmm.
was like totally missing like this whole like later chunk of his career. I'm like, so what is like a more current Francis Ford Coppola movie look like? So I
Hmm.
wanted to check this movie out, and it's very bad. In my opinion, it's a stinker.
What's it about?
It's like kind of like a horror movie, like a vampire movie, which sounds cool because I like Dracula. His version of Dracula, I think, is a lot of fun.
Hmm.
But this one stars Val Kilmer as like an author who comes to this small town trying to sell his new book about like witches or something.
Hmm.
And Bruce Dern is in there and as like a local sheriff, and he's kind of fun. But it feels like it's like trying to be like kind of Twin Peaksy a little bit, like
Mm.
being in a small town, but there's like some spooky stuff going on, a little bit of a murder mystery going on. But yeah, it just looks super cheap. Like it does not look like this is made by a master director. It looks like some random person's first film or something.
Yeah.
Um,
And Tom Waits is in it too.
yeah, Tom Waits, he just does the opening narration. So it
Uh,
starts off strong with like showing you cool shots of this desolate small town with Tom Waits narrating. I'm like, this is good. But then
hmm.
that's only at the beginning. You never hear Tom Waits again. And Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning's younger sister, plays this vampire that he kind of meets in these weird black and white nighttime sequences that look like shit. Uh, it's 89 minutes long, so at least it doesn't waste too much of your time. But I thought it was a bit of a rough watch.
Yeah.
It's definitely experimenting with some editing things. There's like a lot of split screen phone conversations and like Zoom
Mm.
calls in it.
Mm.
And he definitely does some
Zoom
split screen,
calls?
yeah, like Zoom calls.
Like wait, like so
Or
like old school
well,
like
like kind of
Skype.
yeah, or like kind of like Skype calls, yeah.
Okay.
2011 Skype calls. Yeah.
That's like early Skype.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing with Francis Ford Coppola, and I've kind of held this opinion for a while. But when you really break it down, it's like he's got three classic films that will like be indelibly marked in the history of cinema.
All in the 70s.
Yeah, Godfather 1 and 2 and Apocalypse Now. And then you've got gems in there like Dracula and The Conversation. But I mean, other than that, it's like kind of things that went way over people's heads or people liked, but it didn't really stick.
Jack.
Jack, which is like known as his biggest failure because it's so left field for him to do like a family friendly film. Although I do remember seeing it when I was a kid, and for whatever reason, the final scene made me like uncontrollably cry. Um,
I don't think I've ever seen Jack, so I don't know what that entails.
you know what the storyline is, right?
Was he like a boy in a man's body or something?
It's a kid whose disease is he grows by 4 years every 1 year.
Oh, okay.
So he's like a 10-year-old boy is like a 40-year-old man. And then, by the time he's in high school, like he's an elderly man.
It's a tragic tale of Jack.
Yeah. It is kind of a sad story. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty amazing that this guy who really just made a couple amazing
Coppola.
films, a Coppola amazing films. I mean, I haven't seen every single thing he's done. I hear Rumblefish is great. I know people love The Rainmaker, but I mean, none of these movies are like in the cultural conversation anywhere near what Godfather and Apocalypse Now are.
Yes.
So I went into Megalopolis being like, yeah, this one is probably going to be bad, just like most of his movies.
Yeah, and the thing about Megalopolis is he's been thinking about it since Apocalypse Now, right? It's like over 40 years of him thinking about this movie.
So yeah, so he conceived of the idea in 1977 at the end of Apocalypse Now, and then he devoted a big chunk, I guess, of 1983 developing the film. He assembled like a 400-page book of notes.
Mhm.
And then in 89, he was trying to shoot it in Rome. And then that went through because he'd already had all these failures in the 80s, and people weren't really willing to give him another chance. So that was why they were like, no, you got to do The Godfather again.
Give us something good.
And then in 2001, he starts to do table reads. The people who were at that 2001 reading, Nicolas Cage, Russell Crowe, who we'll talk about.
We're going to talk about
Bringing it back around. Megalopo-Month. It's real. So Crowe, De Niro, DiCaprio, Giancarlo Esposito.
You still there? Yeah.
Who's in this one. Edie Falco and Gandolfini.
Sopranos.
Yeah. John Hamm, Al Pacino, Parker Posey, Kevin Spacey, Uma Thurman. Yeah.
Sounds like a great cast minus the Spacey.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing this in 2001, and what happens?
What?
9/11.
Then and there's a point in the script where a big part of New York City gets destroyed by like a falling satellite.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is too similar. This is bad vibes. I can't do this movie now.
Yeah.
I can't just write that out of the script. I gotta just not do the movie.
Yeah. So he lets 20 years pass, and in order to make this movie, he had to sell a big portion of his winery.
The Coppola wines. And what's the budget of this movie?
120 million.
Wow. And that's pretty much all his own self-financing, right?
Yeah. Which ain't coming back because this opening weekend was a MegaSLOPPYlis.
Yeah, what was its number? Do you have it up?
4 mil.
4 mil opening weekend.
Yeah, against his 120 million. That's not good. Considering this weekend, Wild Robot opened to, I think, 136 million.
Whoa.
Yeah.
People love the robot.
Yeah. I think they said it's like the biggest opening of like a non-sequel animated film
Wow.
ever.
Yeah, animated movies have been running the table this year with the
Mm-hmm.
Despicable Me and Inside Out 2 and now Wild Robot. But hey, me and you, we supported Francis. We were there day one in person, which is
Yeah.
not something that has happened too much on this podcast where we
At all.
get to see a movie together.
Yeah.
So you were actually in town
Mm-hmm.
in Ann Arbor. And
Yep.
so me, you, and your buddy Clement, we got to
Mm-hmm.
see this movie together.
Yeah. In Ann Arbor at the Cinemark.
But yeah, so it's fun that Clement was there.
Yeah.
You've talked about him a little bit, I think maybe in our Fast X episode, but
Yeah. So for those who don't remember or don't know him, Clement has kind of become a part of our family. He was the guy who I worked with closest in Peace Corps in Ghana. He's a Ghanaian, and the last few years he's been coming to America. He's trying to immigrate. Look up the Kanadu Basic School if you're interested. It's a great school in Ghana that he started, and it was cool to hang out with him. He was in Chicago for a few weeks. We had a good time, and then we went out to Michigan. And I warned him. I was like, Clement, so Zach and I are going to go see this movie. I don't want to exclude you, but I really don't think you're going to enjoy this. And we kept talking about it. Like the whole family was like, oh, you're going to go to Megalopolis. Oh, yeah, I heard it's terrible. I'm just hearing all the bad reviews.
50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, everyone's looking up I can't believe you're seeing this piece of crap. And we're like, this is what we live for.
We love the movies.
Yeah, we love the movies. And all the talk, last second, Clement's like, I want to go. And I was like, all right. And it was funny because we kept talking it up as like a normal theater experience, because up to this point, he had seen Fast X in 4DX as his first movie-going experience ever.
Yeah.
And then while he was here, we went to the Music Box, which is, pretty typical, but the program was like old 16 millimeter prints of like old 60s like commercials and just like a bunch of random weird stuff. So it wasn't like a regular movie. And then we went to like the planetarium and saw this like trippy Dark Side of the Moon movie at the planetarium. Like, all right, we're going to go to a regular movie theater, going to see a movie that's coming out, a new movie. Well, lo and behold, it wasn't that normal. So he has yet to really have a normal theater experience.
Yeah, we didn't see it in IMAX or anything. There was no 40X or D-Box. It was a normal movie, but this is not a normal movie, I will say.
Yeah. Well, before we get into it, we did have a little first react to the movie right as we got out.
Parking lot review.
A parking lot review. So
Returning segment, parking lot review. So let's play that before we get into the details of this mega magnum Opolis, or is it just a MegaSLOPPYlis? All right, parking lot review.
Yep.
We just got out of Megalopolis opening day.
We're standing in the Cinemark parking lot. It's me, Zach, and Clement.
New to the pod.
Yo.
What did you think of Megalopolis, Clement?
I think I have learned a lot from it, especially in the context of love and relationship.
Okay.
And then how you can create some things based on your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Were there any scenes that you really liked or characters?
I think I can remember Caesar.
Yeah.
He's the main character. And
You said something to me during the theater. What did you say?
Yes, Auntie.
Yes, Auntie, wow.
Yes, Auntie, wow. Yeah.
So you actually liked it, but you walked out 15 minutes before the movie ended and didn't walk back in.
Yes, I think from the time I walked out, I had really get all the concept and understand how it was going to end. Yes, and one thing that I learned also is that we have to be careful with those in our circles, because Antiwa was able to do whatever that they did and planned because they were working with Caesar.
What did you like about it, Zach?
It was sillier than I was expecting.
We were having a lot of laughs.
Yeah, it was good to laugh. Adam Driver had some funny moments. He was being a little goofy.
Yeah, he was unhinged.
I think a lot of people were having fun
making
this movie, which I think is good.
Yeah, Shia was great. Voight was actually pretty good. Hoffman was silly with that quick scene where he gets crushed by a column or something.
Yeah, that was like very confusing but funny.
The biggest laugh was, though, when they revealed his Megalopolis face. His Megalon face.
Oh, yeah.
And then they, played that,
to the
sitar.
A little drum.
Yeah, it looked like he was wearing a little turban.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I think one thing that was that stood up with me was like Caesar was like the girl asked him why is he pretending, and he was like, if you are good, the world will not take you serious. You have to pretend to be bad. And the girl was like, and if you do that too, you are going to be killed. So it's like you have to balance the way
the good
you do
side and the bad side.
The bad side, yeah.
Austin, did you like it?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say if I like it. I thought that the visuals were pretty stunning, and the sound design I thought was really good, but the plot is indecipherable. It's
a lot of characters.
Yeah, a lot of characters just like with intentions, but like there wasn't a real arc to any of it. It was just kind of like it was like full world building. I felt like I was watching like an art installation. Like you could walk in at any time and just kind of watch it for 15 minutes and then like walk away. Yeah.
Like you get the
like you did. You're like, I saw enough. I'm good.
Austin spotted you snoozing for a second at the beginning.
Yeah, you were sleeping too.
Yes. Anyways, but it was good I came.
Yeah.
And
what do you think? Do you like this one more than the 40X?
No, I like the 40X. I like Fast and Furious or whatever. I like that one than this, because that one is like I was like part of the actors. I was in the movie.
Yeah.
And this one, yes, and this one I was like sitting in a very comfortable chair, enjoying some, candies. And,
it was a proper theater experience.
Yes,
it's just a normal theater. I didn't like the aspect ratio on the screen. There was a lot of black around the picture.
Yeah, well, it had like the black on the sides, right?
Yeah, and then a little on the top and the bottom too.
Too much.
Yeah, it was like very projected in the center of the screen.
Yes.
I wonder if you saw it on a bigger screen in IMAX, like if it was a little bit more immersive, if it would feel a little more.
Well, do you think you're going to go back for IMAX now? Are you going to go back?
We'll have to find out. We'll wait and find out. I don't know.
Are you chomping to get back and
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. There were some like very trippy sequences though.
Yeah, very trippy little animations and visuals.
The 3-panel stuff, and like there's that random scene where he's just at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about, the aspect ratios.
Yeah. I was like, did they fuck up the rest of the movie?
Yeah, there's a lot of parts that I felt like they fucked up and they left it in the movie.
A lot of choices. A lot of big choices.
Who's your favorite character?
Shia.
I gotta go Schwartzman.
He had like 2 lines. And he had the great little...
He had a great haircut.
Yeah.
Great little drum scene.
Yeah.
He was perfect.
Yeah. We did laugh a lot, and there was There were good moments there where we just found the humor in it.
Yeah, but I think Auntie Wow did a good job on her character.
Yes, Auntie Wow.
Auntie Wow.
All right.
Signing off.
That's Parking Lot Reviews. Very windy record.
Yeah. That's Parking Lot Reviews for you.
We also think that might have been the first time Zach and I have produced any content for this podcast where we were in the same room.
Well, it wasn't even in a room. We were just outside.
You're outside, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But did you know that part where Adam Driver is small in the bottom center of the screen, do you know why that is?
Nope.
So that is supposed to be an interactive portion of the film where in some ultimate experience IMAX versions of Megalopolis, during that scene, a performer who is hired comes down the aisle of the theater to a microphone and actually asks Adam Driver the question that's in the movie, which is like, what do you believe about the future or whatever like that. So it's supposed to be like a little theatrical moment in the theater during that scene.
I think I saw a YouTube clip of that happening, but I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah. So like when this movie is inevitably a cult classic, you get a lot of people coming up to the screen to ask Adam Driver the question.
It's a fun idea.
Yeah.
This movie has ideas.
I guess just to kick it off, I mean, we've had a weekend now to think about this movie and my feelings have fluctuated. Is there anything in your estimation that's changed since you saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have spent time thinking about it, but I feel like I'm just in the middle on this movie of just like it has stuff I like, some real fun stuff, but I just think the story just doesn't really work for me, which is it's tough when the main thrust of the narrative doesn't really grab me. But there's just so many individual scenes and characters and moments that really I think about fondly. So it's hard for me to be like, this is a bad movie because there's all these things I like about it.
Let's play the trailer really quick, just so we can reacquaint ourselves with the look and the feel.
Our American Republic is not all that different from old Rome. Will we too fall victim, like old Rome, to the insatiable appetite for power of a few men?
To the future of our family.
Family.
I will build a city that people can dream about.
Megalopolis.
That man is a megalomaniac.
What is it like being rich?
You can scare people. I want it all. You're gonna have to prove yourself.
We are going up and they are going down.
We are taking our city back.
Wait. When we leap into the unknown, we prove we are free.
Enjoy the show.
The alligators had the right idea. They young.
The gates of Megalopolis are open!
Zach, do you want to take a crack at what this movie is about?
Well, it's about genius artist Caesar Catalina, played by Adam Driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he seeks to leap the city of New Rome into a utopian idealistic future while his opposition, Mayor Franklin Cicero, played by Giancarlo Esposito, remains committed to a regressive status quo perpetuating greed, special interests, and partisan warfare. Torn between them is socialite Julia Cicero, played by Natalie Emmanuel, the mayor's daughter, whose love for Caesar has divided her loyalties, forcing her to discover what she truly believes humanity deserves.
Yeah, when you put it that way, sounds pretty simple. You know, Caesar Catalina, Adam Driver's character is sort of like an Elon Musk type.
But he also has a superpower.
Yes, he's blessed with the ability to stop time sometimes. And when he does, he doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah, it's kind of unexplained why he has this power. It's more of a fun, like a little fun parlor trick.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually plays into the narrative at all, really.
Like there's a scene in the beginning of the movie that's in the trailer where like he's watching a building get demolished, and as it's like crumbling, he's just like stop. And then it just stops. Everything stops and he's like, "All right, go ahead." And then just starts up again. It's like there was no reason to do that, I guess, but
Yeah.
it looked cool, which is kind of the whole feeling of this movie. It's like, why did he do that? But it looked cool.
It does look cool for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. It like, yeah, both simultaneously looks visually stunning and then also green screen cheap.
Yeah, a lot of green screen stuff and some cheap effects are just kind of thrown in willy-nilly, it seems like at times. Maybe it'd be good to just go through the characters.
That's what I was thinking. You read my mind.
Yeah.
I am assuming in writing this movie that Francis Ford Coppola probably started with the characters and their dynamics with each other and then just built the story around the characters.
Well, I heard that the original kind of thing was that this was based off like a real Roman historical event. It's like called like the Catalonian conspiracy or something
Oh,
weird.
okay. Yeah.
So it was about like some real type of coup that happened in Rome with like some guy with new ideas trying to overthrow the guy with old ideas or something.
Mm-hmm. It's very directly a historical telling of the fall of Rome and comparing it to what Francis Ford Coppola thinks is the parallel right now with America. I saw some interview with him where he's like, this is going to happen to America in a couple of months.
Yeah, with the election and stuff.
Yeah, with the election coming up. And there are a lot of like Trumpian things going on in this film. So
and a Trumpian supporter in Jon Voight.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of problematic people in this cast, including Francis himself.
Yeah, there's some allegations against Francis.
Apparently he was being a bit handsy on the set with some extras. But on the other hand, Shia LaBeouf, you sent me an article today that I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize how awful he really is.
Yeah. Yeah, my buddy Wes kind of told me about this. I didn't really realize how he abused FKA Twigs, who he was in a relationship with, and did some real awful stuff. And he's just kind of an unhinged guy.
Yeah, he like strangled her and like knowingly gave her herpes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to forgive him for that.
But yeah, he says he's like on a better path now or something, and he's like apologizing and taking accountability for that stuff. But yeah, I guess he's married to Mia Goth right now, and they have a kid together, which I forget.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, he is very interesting actor, and I was happy to see him in this. And also, Jon Voight, for as much as I disagree with his politics, like entirely, like he's super avid Trumper. But I do like him as an actor. And, Midnight Cowboy is one of my favorite movies of all time. And he's teamed up with his old friend Ratso Rizzo in this one.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin's back.
Yeah, we talked about how Dustin Hoffman's been creepy in the past on our Rain Man episode earlier this year.
Yeah, another creepo.
So there's a lot of creepos, but I guess at least in terms of Jon Voight, it was like Francis Ford Coppola's like he's like kind of proud of the fact that it's like, oh, we got people on both sides of different political ideologies in this movie. It's like this is a bipartisan film.
I don't know. It just seems like some white boomer shit. Like, you've been thinking about this movie for 40 years and you want to shoehorn in like some anti-woke cancel culture bullshit. Like,
yeah,
but whatever. He's trying to say a bazillion different things. Apparently he was smoking a ton of weed on the production of this movie.
Yeah, I read that too on the Wikipedia article about the production of this movie.
Yeah.
There's a funny quote by somebody in the crew. I pulled the quote. One crew member recalled, He would often show up in the mornings before these big sequences because no plan had been put in place, and because he wouldn't allow his collaborators to put it in place, he would often just sit in his trailer for hours on end, wouldn't talk to anybody, was often smoking marijuana. And then he'd come out and whip up something that didn't make sense and that didn't follow anything anybody had spoken about or anything that was on the page. And we all just go along with it, trying to make the best out of it. Coppola denied smoking marijuana on set, adding that he had been avoiding the substance ever since his weight loss in 2017.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. But the actors do talk about how like he was very open to improvisation on set, and
that's clear.
Just being loosey with it, loosey goose.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool for a project that he's been thinking about for so long, that he was loosey goosey with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've been listening to and reading, he just wanted people to like keep being braver, just take it up to another notch, do more. And he would, usually do about 6 or 7 takes and would pick the takes where they felt like the freest and saying the weirdest stuff, which I think got all the big laughs from us, because I think that's where you get the like, go back to the club and like yes.
Yeah, that's all Adam Driver. Yeah, Adam Driver's performance. It's just like is very like classic Driver a lot of the time, but then every now and then he'll just throw in just like a really weird line reading or weird physical move. Yeah. And it feels like kind of random when he decides he's like going to slip into that. But
yeah,
it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, we should play the go back to the club clip.
Yeah, I feel like this moment specifically has been going kind of viral, or I've just been seeing this moment all over different social media.
You want to help me?
Yeah, and while I want to learn.
And you think 1 year of medical school entitles you to plow through the riches of my Emersonian mind?
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
I have no idea about me. You think I am nothing? Just a socialite?
No, not nothing, but I reserve my time for people who can think about science and literature and architecture and art. You find me cruel, selfish, and unfeeling? I am. I work without caring what happens to either of us. So go back to the club, bear it all, and stock the kind of people that you enjoy.
Fine. I will.
Go back to the club.
Yeah, he does a great head bob while he says that line, and
so now we got stuff like this.
Me. So go back to the club. You want to help me. So go back to the club. You want to help me. So go back to the club. You want to help me. So go back to the club.
Yeah, that was a fun little edit. Yes.
Incredible. Some other really funny lines that we cracked up at. There's that one insane scene where Shia LaBeouf walks into, I think, a bank looking like Corey Feldman with his like fedora hat and his suit. And then he just like throws his hat on the ground. He's like, pick up my hat. And then like the guy behind him does the exact same thing. He's like, pick up my hat. And then the guy behind him, like, what the fuck was that?
Pick up my hat.
Or I was just trying to remember other things. Like there's a scene where Aubrey Plaza is like walking up to the camera and she's like, 1, 2, 3, yippee yee.
I forgot about that.
It just like seems like she was just couldn't think of a rhyme in her head. It's just like the first thing that popped in her head. Like it even looks like she has like a little like smirk, like she's about to break character.
Yeah, Aubrey Plaza plays Wild Platinum, which we haven't mentioned yet.
Yes, one of the great names in cinema history, I think.
Or as Clement refers to her as Auntie Wow.
Yeah, because there's a great scene where Shia LaBeouf gets seduced by her, and she makes him say, yes, Auntie Wow. And so now anything that the answer is yes with Clement, he's like, yes, Auntie Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she becomes Shia LaBeouf's aunt by marrying his dad, who is John Voight. So this is a family movie.
They're cousins.
Yeah, Caesar, Adam Driver's character, he's the nephew to John Voight's character, right? Who's a billionaire guy.
Let's back up and do what we said we were going to do, is try to break this down through the characters. We got Adam Driver, who is Caesar Catalina, as we said. He's an architect with the ability to stop time, and he's trying to build this megalopolis
With
in the
Megalon.
with this kind of mystery element called Megalon in the middle of New Rome. And then you've got Giancarlo Esposito, who plays the mayor, who kind of feels like, no, things should stay the way they are.
Yeah, they're at odds with each other for sure.
Natalie Emmanuel is his daughter, and she ends up kind of falling in love with Caesar. And Aubrey Plaza in the beginning of the movie is Caesar's mistress, and she's like this kind of like
News reporter
reporting on like the hot goss.
Yeah, she's interviewing John Voight. She's like, what's it like to be fucking rich or something?
Yeah. And then Shia plays Caesar's cousin, Claudio.
Claudio.
And is, I think, John Voight's character, Hamilton Crassus, who is like a super wealthy guy who like owns all the banks. It's his grandson.
Yeah, I don't know where the father is. I don't know if they explain that.
But those are like the main characters.
Yeah, you got Lawrence Fishburne in there as Fundy Romaine. It was just, I guess, just kind of Caesar's assistant or driver or friend or something. I don't know.
Lawrence Fishburne, who, if you remember, he was 14 years old in Apocalypse Now.
No, I forgot about that.
So he's coming back to work with his old pal, Uncle Coppola.
And Schwartzman's in there. Coppola's real life nephew.
Yeah, he's like the right-hand man to Giancarlo. Chloe Feynman from SNL kind of plays these like sirens who are, I guess, related to Shia's character, and they keep whispering that they're all fucking each other.
Well, she's his sister.
Yeah.
And there's rumors that they're fucking each other. Some incest going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Claudio and Claudia.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman is the fixer to the mayor. So anyways, you got all these people, and they all like are intertwined in kind of a soap opera-y way, but it's very difficult to follow.
Yeah, you don't really know who's going to be important the first time. Well, you know Adam Driver's important, obviously. He's obviously the main guy. But yeah, it really does come a lot about him and his relationship with Natalie Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
And them falling in love with each other, and
there's no real chemistry there.
Yeah, I feel like there's no on-screen chemistry between them. I feel like her character is the most boring character in the whole movie, maybe, or like she's just not bringing much to it.
Yeah,
meaning, well, especially compared to like big performances like by Shia and Adam Driver, and Aubrey Plaza, who are just like kind of. I feel like they understand like what this movie's going for, and she feels like she's like too normy. It definitely makes the movie kind of flawed, I guess, just that she's in this movie so much, and revolves around her so much. Like scenes with her kind of drag, except for that one scene we just watched, what she's in, and that's one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. But that's all Driver that's making it iconic, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think she's really giving much.
How do you feel about Adam Driver? Do you like this guy as an actor?
I used to like him when he was kind of came on the scene with Girls. I thought he was like a pretty unique presence.
Yeah,
but
he's like the best part of Girls.
Yeah.
He's amazing on that show.
Yeah, I mean, just explosive, violent performances that you don't really see in most actors. Definitely a unique performance techniques. You know, you don't see that a lot, but since then, it's like kind of his thing, and it's like all he does. And I mean, like, think of like Marriage Story when he punches the wall, or um,
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren, just more, more. He's just sort of known for his like anger.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a one note show now.
But he's not really that angry in this movie. He's kind of doing something a little different.
Yeah, I think he's kind of got the hint that's like, all right, let's try something else. Ferrari, he's like very subtle in that.
Yeah, one interesting thing is this is not the first time that Adam Driver's been picked to star in a famous director's like long gestating passion project.
Yeah.
As Ferrari, Michael Mann was thinking about that movie since like early 2000s and then just got it made last year. And then also Terry Gilliam, he starred in the Who Killed Don Quixote or whatever, which is a movie that Terry Gilliam was trying to make for many, many years, which sucked. I don't know if you saw that movie, but I thought it was
No.
trash. But it's just kind of funny that these directors like cast Adam Driver and suddenly these projects can get made.
Well, also Silence by Scorsese.
Oh,
Adam Driver's a big part of that, and that was like his big story that he always wanted to tell about like Jesuit priests in Japan.
I didn't realize he was trying to make that for a while. I've never seen that movie.
I mean, he's been a part of some very interesting stuff lately, like White Noise and Annette. You liked Annette, right?
Yeah, I thought Annette was cool. Black Klansman, Spike Lee movie. I think he's good in that. I mean, I'm an Adam Driver fan. I think he's basically good in everything I see him in. I like he's really good in Patterson, the Jim Jarmusch movie. I just generally like him. I think he's
House of
compelling.
Gucci, you're a huge Gucci head.
Yeah, his second time playing some Italian old guy.
Yeah.
But he's one of the more exciting things in this movie for
Yeah.
sure.
The way that Coppola directs definitely gets actors into a place where maybe they've never been before, or like they're just free to be themselves or do whatever wacky thing they want to do, which he was really encouraging in this. He loves doing rehearsal. He says that he like always wants 3 weeks of rehearsal and usually only gets like 3 days. But for this one, he was doing a lot of like theater exercises, like having people improv like the histories of their character. There's just like a lot of individual character building like per actor with this, which shows. Are there any other specific scenes that you want to call out?
Well, I think yeah, there's a whole Coliseum set piece scene which we talked about a little bit.
The Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and that's like kind of the marriage between Wow Platinum and John Voight, right? It's like that's what that scene's all about. It's like that's their big wedding reception in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of weird three wrestling matches going on at once, and there's like guys like busting through walls and acrobatics and a weird pop star thing.
Performance. Yeah.
Yeah, with
chariot
like clones.
races.
I think that all that stuff's like that's one of the better parts of the movie. It's like it's just for the visuals of it. And it's like, wow, this is a big movie. Like this looks expensive to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very giving me like Baz Luhrmann vibes. I was like feeling like it kind of has like a Moulin Rouge feel to it with like the performances and like all the very stylized cinematography.
Yeah, and Adam Driver's like tripping out on drugs during this sequence for no reason.
Yeah, and John Voight's super drunk and just like, oh, let's have a party.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Comically drunk.
Yeah, and Shia LaBeouf, he's like being sneaky and doing this like whole thing to sabotage Caesar with this fake sex tape thing. Probably the best chunk of the movie, I'd say.
Yeah, and there are comparable scenes that, like you said, like feel very big and expensive. Like there's that scene where he's driving through the city and these statues are like coming alive and like falling apart.
Yeah, that's like kind of unexplained too, like why these statues are like moving. They don't really explain that at all, but it's a good visual.
he does this editing technique where he cuts the screen into 3 panels and a lot of overlays and crossfading and like a few scenes that you'll see in the trailer, but like when the satellite hits the city, the way that the shadows are projected onto the buildings, I think looks beautiful. And those quick cut scenes, like the one where like the hand comes out of the cloud and grabs the moon, I think those are all really, really beautiful shots. But the visuals just do not hold up to the storyline, which is sort of similar to One from the Heart, where it's like you got these big spectacular set pieces that's just a feast for the eyes, but doesn't really deliver in terms of pulling you along with a plot line.
And we do have to talk about the scene with John Voight and his boner.
Yes. So this is a spoiler for anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, but I can't imagine anybody who's listened this far either doesn't want to see it or already saw it.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of discourse around this scene specifically. People being like, "Oh, they're out on this movie. Like, this is the worst thing ever," or people think it's great. We think it's great.
Yeah, we lost our shit in the theater when this happened, but
Clement was gone.
Yeah, Clement had already walked out of the theater, not to be seen again. And I mean, do you want to do the honors of describing it?
Yeah, it's just like John Voight's in bed. I guess maybe he's sick or something at this point, or I don't know. Like he's just like laid up in bed with the blanket over him. Shia LaBeouf comes to him and followed by Auntie Wow. And they're at this point, Shia LaBeouf and Auntie Wow have teamed up to try to take all of John Voight's money and try to bleed him dry for all of his cash. If you look down, you notice that there's a little protruding kind of tent pole going on in his pants or something.
Yeah.
And John Voight asks Shia, "What do you think of this boner I got?"
Lo and behold, it is not a boner.
It's a little tiny bow and arrow. And when he reveals this, there's like a little cartoon shine that comes at the tip of the arrow. Looks super cheap and goofy.
Yeah.
Shoots Auntie Wow, Aubrey Plaza, straight in the heart with an arrow, killing her on the spot.
Yeah.
And then he ends up shooting Shia LaBeouf as he's running away. Not fatally.
In the butt.
Yeah. And it's an insane scene, but we loved it.
Yeah, we were cracking up. What do you think of this boner I got? Best thing he's done since Midnight Cowboy.
But yeah, the ending of the movie feels like it ties up very quickly and doesn't really. He builds Megalopolis and then and he has a baby with Natalie Emmanuel, and I guess he's like him and the mayor are just friends somehow, I guess.
Yeah. It's just like everything can be great.
We can all get along.
Yeah. If we just build Megalopolis, yay.
And Megalopolis looks like this weird CGI, like I don't even know how to describe. It's like gold and like looks like petals, like leaf petals, and
yeah, it was kind of giving me Wonka vibes. Also, just looks like any 60s rendering of what they thought the future would look like.
Yeah.
like anything that was like presented at the World's Fair or something is like in the city of the future, it's just like it just looked like some Jetsons bullshit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about the part where the kid shoots Adam Driver in the face.
Yes.
And he has to get facial reconstructive surgery with Megalon.
Yes. And then like the reveal of his eye, it was that we cracked
his
up
mega eye.
Yeah. It just looked so cheesy, and then like
he's the cue.
a little sting of like a sitar, like
like a little like Indian drum. Like it was so dumb.
And the way that like the bandage is around his head, it looks like he's got like a turban, so it just like looks like in many different ways tone deaf, but very funny.
Yeah, it feels like he's just like not giving a shit at this point in the movie. He's like not even taking his own story seriously anymore with like the kind of choices he's making in the edit room. So it's like
Yeah.
he's just being a goofball.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing to think that they did all principal photography within like 4 months. And it makes sense because obviously they put so much into the CGI of it, but this thing has been rattling around in his brain for 4 decades and it took him 4 months to shoot.
Yeah, and he didn't shoot any of it in New York either. They shot it in Atlanta, even though the movie's set in New York City.
Yeah.
But I guess just for tax incentives, they had to do it in Atlanta.
Yeah, the Empire State Building is on the poster.
Oh yeah, there was one quote Coppola talking about LaBeouf, working with LaBeouf on the movie. He described him as an actor who deliberately sets up a tension between himself and the director to an extreme degree, and whose method was so infuriating and illogical it had me pulling my hair out. And he compared him to Dennis Hopper and for Apocalypse Now. Just
Interesting.
like he's a loose cannon. He's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's perfectly cast in this movie as just kind of a crazy piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean,
he's good.
Yeah, he's good at it. It's kind of like Spacey, right? Like it's like, he's so good at being an asshole. It's actually he is.
Yeah.
Should we give our final thoughts on Megalopolis?
Megalopolis. I am kind of curious to watch it again and see if I like it more on a rewatch. But I do really think that it's just the story is just not that good.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like this romance at the center of it, it's like really falls flat. It's hard to get behind a movie when like something at the core of it feels not that interesting. But it's just a very unique film. And if you like weird movie experiences, I would suggest going and seeing it in theaters and see it with friends, maybe smoke weed for it. I don't know. I watched it sober, but I feel like maybe I should rewatch it a little stoned and maybe I'll have even more fun with it. But
yeah, it's an out there movie. I mean, there aren't a lot of things like it. I think that's been a big part of the discourse right now is how this movie kind of stands alone. And I think there aren't a lot of movies like it, but I don't think that it's totally unique. Like I said, I think that it is pretty close in terms of ambition to One from the Heart. I think that in the current landscape, yeah, there are no movies like this out maybe in the last 10 years. But it was reminding me a little bit of Tree of Life by Terrence Malick. Kind of like trying to take like big galaxy brain things and bring it down to, like civilization and optimism for the future. Also like Cloud Atlas, the Wachowski movie.
oh yeah.
Kind of getting Cloud Atlas vibes.
Yeah, maybe some Terry Gilliam kind of flares of imagination in there and weird visuals.
Star Wars prequels, the CGI in that, like it's not a far cry from, Cloud City or whatever. One thing that I was thinking about that did actually come out this year is the J-Lo movie. This Is Me Now.
I only saw the trailer for that.
Like, I don't know how long she was thinking about that movie for, but I mean, like in terms of ambition and big ideas, like she's really going for it in that movie. I think the thing that makes that movie intolerable is all the music sucks. I think if it was like any halfway decent music, like it would be on the level with Megalopolis. Yeah, in terms of like a visually stunning thing, I mean, This Is Me Now actually does have some elements that remind me a lot of Megalopolis.
Yeah.
And one movie I haven't seen, but I want to see now because people have been bringing it up a lot is a movie called Southland Tales. Do you know about this movie?
No.
With The Rock and Justin Timberlake, Sarah Michelle Gellar. It was like a 2006 movie by the guy who did Donnie Darko. And apparently it's sort of similar where it's like big cast of characters and it's all about like the future of civilization after a big event. So I haven't seen that one, but I mean, it's not totally unprecedented.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think that it doesn't feel like just a movie to me. Like it feels like an art installation. It feels like a statue. It's very theatrical. There's a lot of like direct Shakespearean references. It's very poetic. It's like kind of a fable. It's philosophical. So
Well,
it does.
it says on the
Yeah.
poster a fable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the idea of the fable is like there's supposed to be like an obvious lesson moral to it. So I was like
Hmm.
wondering like what is the moral that Coppola's trying to give us with Megalopolis? Do you have any theories on
It's a
that?
cope out.
It's a Coppola.
It's a Coppola out. It feels like something that he just probably tagged on after all the bad reviews and was like, you guys got to think about this more, like a moral play or something, you know?
Yeah, I guess you can save the world if you find a special magic material called Megalon. Maybe that's the moral. If you fall in love with the mayor's daughter, maybe he'll learn to like you. I don't know.
Yeah, there's not really a lesson in it. But I mean, he kind of shoves it in your face like these are the lessons I want you to take away from it. Like his whole like we are one human family. We've got a new Pledge of Allegiance,
Mhm.
which we should recite, I think, together. Put your hand over your heart. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
our
our
human
human
family
family
and to all the
all the
species that
species
we
that we
protect
protect
on
on
earth,
Earth,
indivisible, with
indivisible, with
long
long life,
life,
education, and
education,
justice
and
for
justice
all.
for all. That's the new Coppola Megalopolis Pledge of Allegiance. Pledgealopolis.
Yeah. It's a cautionary tale. He doesn't want the American empire to fall like Rome did.
He said in this interview, he was like, the one special skill that I have is I'm able to tell the future, and I'm kind of a Cassandra type person because people don't believe me when I predict the future, but they'll see. You know, it's like okay, but yeah, I mean, he's probably right. I mean, I think we are on a downslope. We are like a failing nation to some degree, but will we collapse the same way as Rome? Who I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to speak to fascism a little bit, or like there's like the shot of the tree stump that looks like a Nazi swastika that
Yeah,
Shia LaBeouf stands on, and there's a lot of ideas.
yeah. His speech is kind of the January 6th speech that Trump gave, and when he's killed, they throw a red hat at him. I think at some point, I think I saw, but yeah. So there's some pretty direct comparisons to Trump. A few more final thoughts. I just wanted to say, I think in many ways this movie seems to be kind of a return to form for Francis, in that this is him putting everything on the line to see their vision become a reality. And you know, the fact is, the reason I love So Bad It's Good movies, and I think what makes a So Bad It's Good movie is somebody who's like a writer director like Tommy Wiseau or Neil Breen and like will just stop at nothing to get their thing made. That attempt usually becomes a bad movie, like or a movie that's just like a fiasco or a huge flop because fact is that usually doesn't go very well.
Yeah, I don't think he's a great writer. I get the sense.
Yeah.
But this movie, a lot better than Twixt, that other movie I mentioned earlier. And this
Yeah.
movie is much bigger, and that movie Twixt felt very small. So I like a big swing. And I
Me
have a
too.
feeling this movie's gonna age like a fine Coppola wine.
You know what? I do too. I think that it will get better on subsequent viewings. I think that it will gain a sort of reputation for being a cult classic or something. I mean,
Maybe
just
a midnight movie. Who knows?
yeah, midnight movie thing. I mean, already people are showing up to the theater just based on these clips that are flying around. People are just going in, you know, like a room screening in total bad faith, like just to laugh it off the screen, you know? So
Mhm.
I'm hoping that it will become like a Cats type thing. I did get the same feeling, the new Cats movie. Like just this feeling that it should be a play and you just feel locked into these rooms with these people. Like you have like a 10-minute sequence where you're like, just like, get me out of here. Like I'm done with this. You know, you just feel a little trapped at times. And the last thing I'll say is this would be a perfect Sphere movie. I think it should have been made for the Sphere.
Yeah.
It would be incredibly immersive. Like, I'm just imagining that catwalk scene in the beginning. Like, if they made it feel like you were like up in the rafters with them. And obviously, I'm Sphere pilled, but Coppola, he has recut movies before. It's basically all he's done in the last 15 years. You know, while you're still alive,
Release the Sphere cut.
release the Sphere cut.
The Coliseum sequence would be great in the Sphere.
It'd be amazing. So that's my final review is should have been a Sphere movie.
Do you think you can give this movie a rating out of 5 stars?
I don't feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, I logged on Letterboxd, but I didn't give it a rating yet. But I'm kind of feeling
Drum roll.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty good.
I'd put it there too. I think maybe 3.5, just because I admire its ambition. I don't hate this movie. Like, I had a good time with it.
Yeah, a lot of
especially
people do.
seeing it with you. Yeah, I mean, I was glad that I saw it with some people like yourself that like we could laugh about it, because I think if I saw it by myself in like a silent, room with like 3 other people, I'd probably be like, God, I fucking hate this.
Yeah, we did see it in the afternoon, and like there's only like maybe 2 or 3 other people in the theater, so
Mhm.
it was a pretty quiet theater. And I'll say that, yeah, it was also a quiet theater when we were at Beetlejuice. So I think that's maybe part of why that movie didn't play very well for Jasmine. It's just like it was not getting laughs in our theater at all.
Yeah.
Even though it was like a decently attended screening, but it was just not getting the laughs. I was laughing. I heard my dad laugh a couple times, but
Megalopolis, good comedy. Feast for the eyes. Get stoned, laugh it off.
Bring your friends, laugh it off, and go back to the club.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the first half of Megalopo-Month.
Stay tuned in a couple weeks where we talk Gladiator.
A couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. We'll come back with Gladiator by Ridley Scott. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've never seen Gladiator, so who knows what I'll think of it. But we want to thank our listeners for sticking with us for this mega long episode about Megalopolis. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Film with Family.
And if you'd like to send us an email, let us know which Francis Ford Coppola movie you think is the worst. You can email us at filmwithfamilypodcast@gmail.com.
And of course, you can always subscribe to our Patreon for $1.99 a month. And you get a bonus episode every month.
And we love the movies.
And we love our family.
Peace out. See you in the club.
Bye.